Oh, hello, Rula. Yes. Hi.
Hello,
Alhamdulillah.
Magdi, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, كيفك?
No, um, I don't know. Maybe I don't have a question. I I heard you say, what do you want for the next 25, 30, 50 years to have a good, happy life, and then, or I guess the alternative, which is maybe the truth, or I'm assuming that that was your comparison. Um, I I think, if you spend, many people spend much of their lives miserable, and I think many people don't realize it even. Um, but I spent most of my life that way, depressed, anxious, and very much aware of that state of being, that there was something wrong there and whatever. Um, and of course, that brought me on this path. So, of course, that's the me trying to relieve itself of pain for its own sake. I mean, there is also curiosity about the truth, definitely. Um, I guess at some point I had a realization, and this was very beautiful and blissful and peaceful, as you had mentioned, being is. And then after that, again, suffering, whatever you want to call it. Um, but I still have glimpses along the way. Um, for example, a couple of days ago, I don't remember what I was listening to. Um, And suddenly I heard my thoughts, thinking something, complaining about something. And it wasn't conceptual, but in an instant, I realized, I mean, it struck me that the thought was not a person, it was not a being, it was an inanimate object, like a leaf, and it struck me that it was not referring to anything, to me, to I. And this all happened in like an instant. So I'm just describing it as if it was a thought process, but it wasn't. It was like, I need to do this, this, this. And then suddenly it was like, what? How can the thought be referring back to what is it referring to? It's not it's not animated. It's not, there's nothing there. And then of course made me look who's here. And then there was very transparent, like, there's nothing here. But there was a certain amount of fear there. The idea of non-existence. And of course, that was an idea, and I could see that as well. But there's something inside that I guess there's depression, anxiety, all these years. Um, a couple of years ago, I got off of all my medications. I really started to do something. I started to get better in reality, in this reality. And suddenly I wanted to live. Before I didn't even want to live this life. Like was more afraid of life than death. Suddenly I wanted to live and I wanted to experience life and I wanted a relationship, all these things that I had like just let go of and I didn't care about anything. And so in a way, I kind of let the spiritual seeking off to the side and I started pursuing some dreams in this physical world. Like you said, 25 years, can I be happy for 25 years or 10 or however I have left? And maybe this existential fear of dying, of getting old, of no longer having much time left, an opportunity to actually experience this life in a way that I haven't for, you know, first 3/4 of my life or half of my life, whatever. Um, but there was that feeling like if you're not here, that sense pulling me back, if you're not here, then what does it matter that you're pursuing this relationship with this person or that you're none of these things matter anymore. It's like you need to be someone in order to enjoy life, in order to, it's very scary to be gone, to not be here. And there was, kind of this back and forth. And there was an openness also that kind of kept it calm. Like it was almost like there was a space and it was all rising in that space. It's just a little, that fear was trying to get, and I'm just wondering about, I don't know, people who have dreams, who still want to pursue things, and yet they see maybe some glimpses, or partially they understand that pursuing things in the world will never really get them what they want. I understand that, but I don't see it clearly. I don't feel it. And so the tendency is still to pursue those things. If we pursue them again and again and keep failing, keep finding that they don't actually fulfill us, is it possible that this is one way, to, a long way maybe, to
Yes. Yeah. So life is part of our experience. When I say, hey, what is it you really value? Do you value having a good life for the next 40, 50 years? Or do you value beingness, awareness? It's just has to be understood in the spirit in which I was sharing it. Now, life is not separate from awareness, from consciousness, and in life, we all love life, even though when we are hating it, we are loving hating it. So life is us is life, meaning consciousness is life and life is consciousness. They're not two, they're not separate. And in life, we enjoy everything. We even enjoy our misery. I mean, because okay, we love to blame somebody for our misery, because that's some mind stuff, right? I mean, say, oh, the problem is my grandmother or my mother or whatever, my brother. And we just play this game, of why did they do this to me? Why is this happening to me? We enjoy this game, otherwise we wouldn't engage in it. So even in our misery, we are happy with our misery. Now, of course, here, we talk about happiness. Is it possible to have happiness without misery? The happiness without playing the game of poor me, or I'm the victim, or playing the game of jealousy or anger or anything like which we enjoy doing. That's what we explore here. So in life, the question is, what is it to be happy? What is it to be truly happy? What is happiness? What about what is it to be? What is
I mean, I can say, I know for me, the one thing, for me, happiness would mean the end of fear. That's it.
Yes,
That's so simple.
yes, the absence of negative, you could say, negative emotions. In your case, you say fear. Okay, yes, beautiful. The absence of the sense of lack, the absence of fear of death and ending, or fear, period.
Just fear. Yeah.
Fear. Yes. So this is what we explore. What is that about? And we get a glimpse, like you mentioned, not just a glimpse, but a few glimpses, where in an instant, it has nothing to do with the mind or thinking or time. We experience, or we are that freedom, that peace, that happiness. In a flash, we know in that moment that there is such a thing as that, as the absence of fear, as the freedom from fear, as the freedom from the sense of lack. So these are the glimpses, because the glimpses are freebies, tokens from God. He just sort of tells you, okay, here I am. Here it is. It's not it's not your imagination. Okay, you're imagining freedom from fear, but here is a glimpse of it. That glimpse is certain. There's a certainty about the glimpse, because nobody can argue with you about it. Says, well, because of this, because of that. I don't care what it was because of. I know the glimpse is real, because it was my direct experience of the causeless peace. So now here, okay, God speaks about the ending of fear. Not like, okay, here and there, but the ending of fear. And the contemplation of that which is in our experience beyond fear. What is it in our experience which is beyond fear? It's not me and my story, and it's not me. That which I know experientially is beyond fear is consciousness, is awareness, is presence, is being. And what is this presence? What is this being? What is that? I mean, I cannot deny consciousness. I mean, what would deny consciousness? You cannot deny consciousness because in order to deny consciousness, you have to be conscious of you denying consciousness. Consciousness is absolute. So what is it in your experience that is absolute, that is non-phenomenal, that is beyond fear, beyond sense of lack, is consciousness. Now, am I the body, mind, or am I consciousness? Obviously, I am consciousness. And what is the Rula experience? The Rula experience is consciousness playing, creating, thoughts, sensations, perceptions, but above all, know yourself as consciousness. Because as you know yourself as consciousness, you're knowing yourself as freedom. You're knowing yourself as the fearless aspect, that which is beyond fear, not the fearless, that which is beyond fear. And then life is for you to play it any way you want. You want a relationship, no relationship, exploring the arts, trying to make money, or not caring, living as a vagabond, whatever it is, doesn't matter, because all possibilities, all options are available to you once you know yourself as consciousness, as awareness, as presence. You're no longer the body-mind. You're no longer identified as a body-mind. And what's happening to the body-mind, what thoughts are arising, what feelings are arising, that's just images on your screen. Your screen meaning the screen of consciousness, you see. So the storylines about, I've been depressed for so many years and 3/4 of my life, all of these in that moment are seen as just images on the screen, as storylines. I'm not saying there's something good or bad about them. I'm not being judgmental about the storylines. I'm just recognizing them, acknowledging them in this moment as storylines. The me storyline is just a storyline because there is no me. There is only consciousness. The me is just the storyline. Okay, so it's important to be aware that the me on the screen is not you. It is not the real you. There's no problem with the me on the screen as long as you're not identifying yourself as that. Because as soon as you identify yourself as somebody in time and space, you are dragging along the whole ancestry of Rula and their tradition and her stories, and when she was 12 years old, and when she was 5 years old, and what happened to her when she was 18, and you're dragging with you the past. And what sort of freedom is there in being in this moment, when I'm just gonna, well, let me regurgitate to you, my history. Do you have time? Or let's start. I hope you have time. Guys, we're gonna be here for the next few hours. I'm gonna regurgitate to you my history. No, no. Of course there is a history. There is a history of the Roman Empire, the history of the Carthaginians, the history of the Assyrians. There is the Persian Empire. Alexander the Great, right? I mean,
It's not here.
right? Carthage. I mean, all of that is history. It's a history of my ancestry. Grandparents, Palestinians, grandparents, what happened to them. There's all of that. There is the history. You say, yes, of course there is a history. It's like, the movie, you can rewind the movie, or you can see the movie again, right? I mean, right now you can just sort of move the cursor and you can watch from the beginning, you say. That's fine, as long as you not identify yourself with somebody. Okay. Now, the other thing about the glimpses, you see, because God loves you because you love God. Don't ask me to explain it. That's how it is, you have the glimpses, God's glimpses, So, and once you open the door, that's it. God's is in. All right. Welcome to the world of glimpses, because it's going to be one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. After a while, you don't even know what glimpse you're having, because it's just okay. Just getting a glimpse. You don't even notice the glimpses after a while, because they're below the horizon, and you find yourself more and more innocent, carefree, as presence, as being. Sort of, oh yeah, gee, this happened. Oh, some things happened that are upsetting. Okay, I mean, look what's happening in the Middle East. It's upsetting. I get upset about it. Okay, it's upsetting. You do what you can. You express yourself in any way you can, and it's all part of God's play. Volcanic eruptions are happening. Tsunamis. Who knows what else? People in Ethiopia, I don't know what they're doing. Starvations and but I never leave home. You never leave home.
In other words, it's not as if there are no feelings that arise of, for example, we're watching the Middle East, what's happening? These feelings arise.
Absolutely. They arise, and they're calling us to heal. I don't know how to heal the world outside of returning to presence and speaking as best I can here and there. But hey, what about the children? Can you let go? Can you let it go? Can you open yourself up to something else, a new perspective? Who hears? Who knows? Like Jesus, when he threw the seeds, some seeds fell on fertile ground, and some seeds fell on the rock, and maybe it took 1,000 years for them to sprout. I don't know. We don't know. Of course, we feel deeply because we're so interconnected. Yeah.
I mean, would you say that in the state, not in the state, but realizing who you really are? I mean, in some sense, everything is here now. You can't distract. You can't, I mean, you're not running away from, there's no you to run away from anything. So in a sense, you feel everything
Yes.
fully. You face everything fully.
Absolutely.
So it's not that discomfort doesn't arise. It's just that it's okay.
Well,
It's seen, that's coming. It's going to go. But it's not like, because I think a lot of us think, or I'll speak for myself initially, that it will be bliss. You'll never feel a bad feeling again. And I think it's not really that. It's just that there's nobody here to identify with it necessarily, but or
Right.
say that it's bad in comparison to good. So it's kind of
Yeah. There, uh, when you are genuine, you're also genuine to the discomfort. When you're present to the discomfort, you're present to be uncomfortable and to be outraged to, yeah, that arises. But and 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 you're affected, and you interact, you interface, you're expressing, but somehow the core isn't touched. The there is movement and there is stillness. It's not like that there is only movement, only turmoil.
something always settled in you.
I'm sorry?
Something is always settled in you. I mean,
Always.
settled, like that's what I feel like I'm always looking for. Like I'm never settled. I'm never settled. It's always looking for that, just settle.
You won't find the settled aspect in the phenomenal. The
Yes.
settled aspect is the true you, this invisible presence that is non-phenomenal, that is always settled, that's always beyond the movement. There is the stillness and there is a movement. The stillness is this ordinary awareness, this ordinary presence, which is you. It's you. You is not the image on the screen. The you is not the thought on the screen. The true you is, and the only you, is this invisible to the senses, this invisible presence, the reality which hears these words. That is always peace. That is peace itself.
So like the eye at the center of a storm is always at peace.
Yes. And this I at the center of the storm has no center and an
Self.
infinite radius.
Thank you. Thank you so much.